That's priority. It's for families. It's up to you and me. Let's put family first. Strong families building strong societies. It's up to you and me. Let's put family first. Marriage between man and woman is what God says. Just follow his direction. That is the only way. Let's build a better Barbados, better families. Happy, secure, safe, and stable homes and communities.
Greetings, everyone. This is your program, Family and Faith Today. I am here again. My name is Mathirin. I'll be your host, and I have my lovely co-host and wife, Sister Reuel Marville Mathurin.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, and this is a program that has been sponsored basically and supported by Family Faith Freedom Barbados, and the vision statement of that organization is as followed. We envision a nation of strong, healthy families, sustainable development, and true freedom. Our mission is to transform our society by promoting biblical truth, fostering strong, natural families, building healthy communities, and defending true freedom. Over to you, Sister Reuel.
Yes, defending true freedom, and we're going to speak some truths this morning. So our topic is men and the church. It sounds strange coming off a woman's tongue, right? Men and the church. And we have again none other than Fabian Sargeant, who has been with us already. And I'm going to read a little bit about you, Fabian. There's a lot, but I'm just going to give people a sneak peek of what we can expect. So Fabian Sargeant is a dedicated professional social worker, the executive director of Men Empowerment Network Support, or MENS, and a Justice of the Peace. He holds a master's in public health and a Bachelor of Science with honors at the University of the West Indies. His expertise spans youth, community and development, life coaching, counseling, HIV and AIDS prevention, program and research, and community meditation. He has a passion for social justice and with a focus on men and boys empowerment. That is what led him to be the founder of MENS. And this organization is dedicated to the social and emotional empowerment of boys and men. So we would like to welcome you again to our program, Fabian Sargeant. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
It is a pleasure to be here again. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes. So Ryan, is there anything else you want to add?
Well, I was listening, and I did not realize that Fabian is also a Justice of the Peace. So that's another feather in his cap, so to speak.
Yes, please.
I have a question, or should I say a statement here, and I want you to give your honest feedback on it, Fabian.
Mm-hmm.
Almost all of the problems which Black Barbadians face is as a result of the absence of positive male leaders in our families. Honest feedback. And before you answer, I want the audience and yourself as well to recognize the provocative words in that statement. Black Barbadians.
Yes, Black Barbadians. And to be only fair, when we're looking at social issues, we just can't put the blame on any one particular social determinant. We can't just say that we have issues because all of our issues are hinged on the fact that there's an absence of fathers in the household. I do think that it is a major contributory factor to a lot of the issues that we have. The research speaks to a large number of fatherlessness within communities, and we also understand that with fatherlessness, the challenges that may come, children usually, there's research that speaks to poor academic outcomes, behavioral challenges, inability of boys to have positive role models, not being able to see that masculine way of dealing with conflict, see how men deal with women, so how a father would deal with a mother so that he can mirror that, And so we really can't put all of it, because then there's the the economic factors, there's the political factors, there's the spiritual factors. So to say that it is only men alone that create that contribute to most, if not all, the social issues within the families, I think it would be a bit of an injustice to give us that.
You're going to leave that ball alone?
Yes. No, I dealt with it. But I am not going to take that responsibility for men.
Okay.
You know, we got to take some.
Well, it would have gone through the
slip.
slips none less and it went to the bundle. So you still get some runs for it. All right, I'm going to have a follow-up statement here. And this is probably going to be what Sister Reuel is going to touch on as well. But we want to continue from where you left off in our previous program. You would have made some quite provocative statements as well. Mm-hmm. And those statements, I do not want to use the word bashing, but you were concerned about the role that our churches are playing in the development of our men. And I believe you have some concerns in that area. So this question is along those lines. Now, what do you say that the result, now this is for not only for, let me forget that word, not only for you to think about this, but also to recognize that this is a program based upon helping persons to recognize the role of the church in our community.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Would you say that the lack of morals that we see among many of our men, let's say, for example, the fact that we see many of our men not concerned about commitment to families after relationships in terms of having children and the fostering and fathering of those children, would you say this is a result of the fact that too many of our men have turned their backs on the church, and therefore they lack that moral grounding they should have to understand their purpose, generally speaking? No. Before you answer, I don't want you to go in the direction of perhaps saying what the church should be doing. I'm just looking at where our men are based upon that departure. We have to be honest.
Yeah.
A lot of our men are not attending church.
Right. So there are a number of issues that we can really look to. And before we could even get to the point where we're saying that men turn their back on the church, I think we would have dropped the ball somewhere along the line where we would not have passed on the traditional values within a society from one generation to another. So gone are the days where grandmothers, grandfathers would take up everybody in the house and carry them to church 2-3 times a week, Wednesday night, Sunday night, Wednesday morning, you know, and pick up the Bible in the house, and you know everybody had to say scripture. Gone are the days where everyone was involved in Bible study in some form or fashion. So society has dropped the ball, and society being the overarching environment that creates that enabling environment for men, you know. I say men because there are also women who are not going to church as frequently as they did before. But because of that environment, the fact that we don't church has seemed to be not as attractive as it was, or the push, you know, for people to be more involved. You know, I guess men being so differently social, men socially is different from women. You know, men are have not been attracted to the church the way that women have been attracted to the church. So I want to say, it's a case that they turn their backs on the church. I think that if the church becomes becomes a lot more attractive for men, whatever that may look like, you know, then we probably could see a lot more boys and men gravitating towards the church. So I don't think it's a purposeful activity. To say that men turn their back on the church is like to say, man, I purposely, intentionally don't want to be part of this this body. I don't think that is the case. I think that men have not been attracted to it, and in doing that, yes, they would have dropped the ball as it relates to really, I guess, being able to develop those principles, those morals and standards, those values that are associated with the Bible, that they can replicate not only in their lives, but in the lives of the people that they lead. Because as men, we are expected by society to lead families. And they always say that leadership should not be hinged on the fact that you got a penis and 2 testicles. You know, I was very, very candid, you know. I mean, and if you really look at it in a realistic way, you're not going to walk into an organization and just pick a man because he got a penis and 2 testicles and say you can lead this organization. He has to possess some type of qualities. He has to have something about him that you can say, well, look, you know what, we can follow him. You know, when we look at Jesus as a Christian, there's a Christian program. When we look at Jesus, you see the quality of a man that he was. You understand? You understand the forgiveness. You understand the humility, the empathy. Okay? You understand that he did not think like the average person. He had a vision. He knew what it was he wanted. And as leaders, as men, these are things that we need to have. And I find that is really fallen down a lot because we have not been able to understand our personal power. We have not been able to develop our social and emotional skills. We've not been able to understand our emotional intelligence. We lack in that area tremendously in terms of connecting with people in the space. We don't even understand ourselves. And I often say, if you can't understand yourself, if you can't lead yourself, then it is very difficult for you to want to lead anyone else. And leading self speaks to having a vision for yourself, understanding your purpose, being able to know what your strengths and weaknesses and triggers are, being able to chart a path for you to reach that ultimate goal, being able to be strong, being able to understand what vulnerability is, and not allowing being vulnerable to trample on your sense of masculinity. Okay?
Well said.
So there's a lot associated with leadership and men.
I believe my wife is going to have a follow-up question to all that because there's something you said that I'm going to take some time from you later on that. But go ahead. You go ahead.
Sure.
Okay, I'm just giving a little segue. There's some, Ryan just unleashed that question. That question could take up an entire program.
Unleash someone's way. You say animals or something.
I feel I'm being interrogated, so I understand representing me.
They have been unleashed.
And I use that word purposely. There's some words that you would have said, Fabian. You said triggers and vulnerability.
Yes.
And those are words that you do not hear being used a lot in terms of men.
Yeah.
I think they would say, when they say trigger, they might say something offset me. They may say something like that, and that and stuff. But vulnerability, you don't hear that often when men are speaking. But let me speak about the young men now. Your agency and other government agencies, they do so much for, there's some agencies that do a lot for young men. But we are still seeing a high rate of juvenile delinquency among our young men. Why is that?
So juvenile delinquency is only but one leaf in the tree. And for some reason, I like it is with the one leaf that everybody does see. You understand? This issue is so deep and wide, and there are many, many factors that influence. Now, no amount of money from government or private agencies or NGOs can really rustle the issues associated with the social determinants to violence and deviance. We have to look at the dysfunction within families and society as a whole. Understand that the issues that we are plagued with, the root cause of it is pretty much a lot of the traumas that many of us, if not all of us, would have experienced as children. And a lot of us don't want to face those traumas. Those traumas are often painful. But the significance of those traumas is that those traumas then mushroom into a lot of what we consider as deviance and social issues or social problems. Now, young people don't choose their families. They don't choose the environment that they exist or they grow up in. They don't choose the education system that they're put in. And they are victims of a system. And my issue is we blaming young people for their own actions. Now, the thing about deviance, the thing about these social issues that we're talking about, is that we need to get back to a place within society. I say get back, I don't even know if it was ever there. We need to get to a place in society where we are so aware of the people in our space, because oftentimes we want to fix everybody else. We want to fix the neighbor child that don't go to school regular. We want to feed the man down the street that you know ain't got no food. You want to help the young girl that you see outside at 8 o'clock. I know she's 12 with a young fella. You want to do all these things, but you don't see your son who's crying out for help in your space. You don't see your daughter who has issues. You don't see your husband. You don't see your mother, your sister in that space. We do not spend enough time understanding our own family dynamics and fixing our own issues. These issues, if everybody fixed their issues, I am telling you, the resources that are spent by government would be a lot less. I'll also add, like government and NGOs, a lot of the programming that we have sometimes they're very targeted, meaning that you have an intervention targeting specific behavior. You want something dealing with children between the age of 8 and 12. You got a program for adolescent boys. Mm-hmm. You have a program for girls. You have a program for boys. You have a program for autistic young people or children. You have a program for persons with remedial issues. Okay, we have a lot of niche programs, and what these niche programs do is just address these small issues in their own space. But it could never be enough, because we're looking at a societal issue that everybody, so it's not a case that there's a handful here and a handful there, is that everybody has an issue that contributes to the bigger social issues and create that environment for social deviance, or what we consider as deviance among young people. So I guess we really have to look at ourselves, because we are the examples. If we do not connect with our young people, if we can't connect with ourselves, we can't teach what we don't know. If you don't know how to manage conflict, you can't teach what you don't know. You can't go home and teach your son how to deal with conflict if you can't deal with conflict. If every time you burst out in a big noise because mommy asks you something, then that's what he's learning. You know, if every time there's a case that he comes home and say, you know, this boy tap him with pencil, and you tell him, well, you're coffee in the eye. You understand? If every time he comes home and say, but somebody hit me on my back with something, so I pick up a rock and hit him in the face. You know, if we are not teaching these skills, then we are equally responsible for the deviance that we consider these young people to have, you know. And this deviance, from a real professional standpoint, is a cry for help, because it's a response to a particular situation. Why are you angry but still you need to be aggressive? We all could be angry, but we don't have to be aggressive. Where was that behavior taught? Okay, so these young people don't just exist on their own. And we can't blame them for their deviance. I blame the adults. I think we're the ones that dropped the ball.
And I can just picture the faces of the persons who may be listening and perhaps watching this program as they consider everything you have said. Now, I would have promised I want to get back to something you had said previously, and I'm taking notes here as you're speaking. The passing on of value, the expectations of men, emotional intelligence. And for many of our listeners, these may seem like high convoluted terms. But I want to break it down for us simply. We have a scenario we already pointed out in Barbados, where we have many of our young persons, and we're speaking about men, but generally many of our young persons are very angry, and they seem as though they have no purpose or direction. Now, you touched on a very fundamental point there, the responsibility of individuals as relates to individual issues. Would you agree that perhaps one of the larger problems, or connected problems we have as well, would be that many of our older men, middle-aged men such as yourself.
I'm middle-aged, but can't tell you.
I'm
a young boy.
I don't think
I'm not trying to correct you. Can't tell you.
I don't think you're seeing the greatness of the hairs that will be on my face and your face. So I don't think it's those. But nonetheless, would you not say that many of our men who should be in a position to mentor and influence our young men positively are more concerned with careers and their own families, and not really getting involved in this larger issue? Because if you recognize that, like you, and this is similar to what my wife would have asked you before, we have several men in this country who are as educated as you are, perhaps as knowledgeable as you are. They see the same concerns that you're seeing, but they seem to believe it's somebody else's problem. I have my own things to deal with. Isn't that contributing towards the larger problem?
It is actually, but before I really address that, I just want to go back a little bit to part of your question, where you mentioned that a lot of the young boys appear to be very angry in our society, and it is important that I address that, because a lot of the behaviors that we see manifesting as anger is not necessarily anger. That's exactly what they're taught. Okay, there's a whole emotional vocabulary. Sometimes these boys may feel frustrated, they may feel disappointed, they may feel annoyed, anxious, but because the only way they know to manifest those emotions is through anger, it will come across as if they're just angry. We have boys who are frustrated because they can't read. We tell a boy, okay, read this to me. And you start to fluster up and you start to do things and you say, but we're getting on, so then one thing leads to another. It's not that he's angry, it's that he's embarrassed because he can't do it. And in the environment that we pride ourselves in being a literate society, it's easy to feel embarrassed at simple things, but because we don't know any other way in terms of how to manifest those emotions, it comes across as anger. So that's why we see a lot of anger, quote unquote, things that look like anger within our society, boys acting out. But when you really get to the root of it, you realize, this is really an anger. This boy is going through something. This boy may not be able to hear properly. He may have a learning issue. He may be going through abuse home. He may be hungry. So there are so many other aspects that I would like people, when you see boys appear to be angry within society, understand that is just what we consider as the presenting problem. Okay? There's oftentimes a root to that presenting problem. So we can start to, I really have to...
You want to frame language in the correct way.
So we can start to really look at people differently. Because as I say, if we really want to deal with this issue, we've got to be able to personalize it and understand what it is we're looking for. Now, to address your question in terms of men not being in
career-driven.
Men being career-driven. Yes, I do agree that a lot of men are career-driven, and the fact that men are playing a lot more roles within the family, men picking up children from school, men going to extracurricular activities. When I take my sons to the pool, I am telling you, like so much fathers are there on evenings, and we don't get home till like 7 o'clock. You're not going to they're going to maintain the body child. You understand? When I live in my community, and I know that there are a lot of children who live in my community. I see them about once a month. Because of my schedule, when they go home, when they leave home very early in the mornings, and when they get home late at night, I ain't got time to go. The only time I got to go outside is to feed the dog or cut or to do the men, like cut the lawn or whatever the case is. So yes, society has shifted a lot, and men have become a lot more individualistic, and I wouldn't say intentionally, but that is just how the entire social structure has been. But what really, I think where the emphasis should be is how do we look at the existing social environment of young people to build up mentorship? Because in the past, you got the rum shop, you got the tambourine tree, you had an extended family, you had uncles and aunts, and you lived in a family-oriented community where, my aunt lived 2 houses down the road, this body lives, the godmother lived down there. This day and age, that does not really exist. Very seldom. It happens in some areas. So that informal type of mentorship is lacking tremendously. What we need to look, I always say, children find, right now, the technology is the social environment of our young people. And I don't think that we have positioned ourselves as the ones that should be setting examples and mentors to be part of their environment. I mean, to just sit down and engulf ourselves in their technology. To see what's happening now is a them and there's a us. We always hear from the internet what's happening in Roblox and all the issues associated with these online. You ever play Roblox? You ever went on any of these Discord, or you ever went into any of these games that these young people play? I can't. Honestly, my son has a VR and I put it on my face The other day, I let my belly start to hurt me. Like, I had motion sickness, you know. But he just do it quite comfortably.
Because he's used to it.
Yeah. So I think like we have to find a way where we can bridge the gap, where we can say, you know what, we need to move out of our comfort zone, and that's exactly where growth happens. Growth happens outside of our comfort zone. We are extremely comfortable in our space, but expect to have influence in a space that we are not. You do not have influence where you are not. So if you are not present in their spaces, in their environments, then we cannot have influence on them in terms of mentorship and their development, you know. So how do we know we position ourselves to really be a part of their environment? Yeah.
Well, we're coming towards the last minutes of our program now. And I want to put this before you because the title of it would have been Men and the Church. And you let a lot of cats out of the bag, so to speak.
Unleashed.
Unleashed a lot of cats out of the bag. Now, can you say, in addition to everything you've said already, what can the church do in addition to everything you've said already to really capture our young men?
I think the church really needs to take a look at itself first, because there are a lot of foundational perspectives and internal. I don't want to say fighting, but there are too much clashes. I think that if you can get the church to understand, okay, a problem well defined is halfway fixed already, and I feel like we're not defining or identifying what the problem really is within the church. So it is okay to say that the church is not addressing a number of issues or whatever, but if the church is not identifying what are the issues within the church that is preventing it from really engaging other people, then you can never ever get there. Okay? You as a father, and I like to personalize it. Let's say you as a father, and you realize there's some issues in your parenting. Your job is not to fix the parenting. Your job is to fix you first. When you fix you, when you understand, you know what, I have to deal with my emotions. I have to deal with how I communicate with my son properly. I have to deal with the limitation, the boundaries. When you realize that you have to fix you, you don't realize that parenting you automatically get fixed, you know. So for the church to want to fix anything, or the issues that the church consider as issues, the church first have to really look inside and understand, well, these are the challenges that we face. Some of the people see it, some don't. How do you get everybody to have a shared vision? You cannot really grow an organization if your team doesn't share your vision. And I feel like that's the only problem. Everybody know where they want to go, but for some reason, everybody want to travel a different road. You understand? And until we can get everybody on the same road, it's okay to have different perspectives. It's okay to disagree because it's a democracy. I mean, at the end of the day, you should be able to say, you know what, I don't agree with this, I don't agree with that. But that doesn't mean it take away from the goal or where it is you really want to go. So once we can get a collective, then I think that the church will be in a better place to address a lot of the external issues. And that's the uncomfortable conversations that churches don't want to have. They don't want to fix the internal issues, but want to fix the external issues. You can't clean anybody else when if yours dirty. But I feel like through this window here, and they tell myself, outside cloudy. I need to clean my windows first. And then you realize, oh shoot, outside in our cloudy, is that my windows is really dirty.
And the Bible speaks about the beam in one's eye rather than looking at the mote in your brother's eye. Nonetheless, we are wrapping up and we're putting the curtains to our wonderful program again. Sister Reuel.
Thank you, Ryan, for unleashing again.
I can ask for a prayer for me. Don't come for me. They ask me to be honest. I can't do. Prayer for me.
I appreciate the honesty. I know our audience as well. We would like to thank you so much for coming and sharing once again about how we can empower men. Basically, that's what we're doing. All the questions are about empowerment and young boys, and we want to thank you so much for joining us on our program. Also, some announcements on our rally on the 9th of November at the Bay Street Esplanade. Yes. And we want everyone to come out. If you hear these topics that we are going to be speaking about, you definitely would want to come. We're also asking for sponsors, an invitation to sponsors to get on board. And you can contact us via email at fffbarbados@gmail.com. Ryan?
Thank you.
You.
And that's it from us. Family and faith today. Blessings on all of you.
Bye.
God's priority is for families. It's up to you and me. Let's put family first. Strong families building strong societies. It's up to you and me. Let's put family first. Marriage between man and woman is what God says. Just follow his direction. That is the only way. Let's build a better Barbados, better